In the world of personal growth and self-improvement, self-awareness is often deemed as the ultimate path to get there. We're told to meditate, we're told to sit in silence, we're told to look inward to understand the outer world. And while these ideas have been popularized in recent years due to the rise of self-improvement gurus on social media, and YouTube in particular, they're nothing new. Socrates is often credited for saying, "Know thyself." A quote so simple but so profound in that even thousands of years ago, the greatest thinkers in the world knew that the most powerful way to become the best version of ourselves was introspection, self-awareness. But what if I told you that, like with all powerful ideas, too much self-awareness can be harmful? Now, don't misunderstand me. I'm not going to sit here and try to prove Socrates and other famous philosophers wrong. Self-awareness is indeed important, and it probably is the best way to actually improve ourselves and get a better understanding of who we are and the world around us. Carl Jung said, "He who looks outside dreams, he who looks inside awakens." Self-awareness is often the first step towards any meaningful change because that's how we learn to know ourselves. We start recognizing our strengths, we can improve our weaknesses, and we can even confront any traumas that we've picked up throughout our lives. There is research out there that suggests that increased self-awareness can lead to more self-confidence, it can lead to more creativity, and like with every other method of self-improvement out there, it can even increase overall levels of happiness. But while it has all these great benefits, if we do it too much, it can actually start to have the opposite effect. Fyodor Dostoevsky went as far as to call this a disease. "I swear to you, sirs, that excessive consciousness is a disease. A genuine, absolute disease." With hyper-awareness comes a greater understanding of oneself, but right alongside that comes an understanding of how insignificant our choices are in relation to the world as a whole. This can, in turn, lead us to inaction because we begin to see our actions as futile. Dostoevsky also believed that too much self-examination puts an unnecessary amount of pressure on ourselves because we begin to ask questions that are too difficult to answer. Why am I here? What is my purpose? These questions bring along with them anxiety and uncertainty that could have easily been avoided without the introspection. All of this reminds me of that paradox commonly known as the Ship of Theseus. Imagine you have a ship, right? And over time, the parts begin to wear and break down so they're replaced with new ones. Given enough time, every single wooden beam, plank, and nail on the ship will have been replaced, leaving none of the original parts. Which begs the question, is it still the same ship? And on top of that, if all the old parts were gathered and reassembled back into a ship, is that then the original ship? This question was raised by Greek philosopher Plutarch and in reality has nothing to do with ships. It's actually a metaphor for our identities. Just like the ship, parts of ourselves are always changing. We're always learning, we're always growing, we're always developing. This never stops throughout our lives. We're in a constant state of evolution. There is no final product. We never become anything, we're always becoming. But if that's the case, then how can we ever truly know ourselves? Well, that's the point. You kinda can't. And spending too much time trying to do so through self-awareness is simply inviting anxiety into your life. You're essentially walking yourself into an identity crisis. But going back to that paradox, right? One thing I've never seen mentioned in discussions of the Ship of Theseus is that regardless of its parts, regardless of which ship is the original ship, the fundamental aspect of the ship is unchanging. It's a ship, it's a boat, it still serves its purpose, it's still able to carry men and cargo out to sea. It's still useful. And the same can be said for us. Ultimately we're just people trying to do good, and no matter how much we change, learn, or evolve, you're still you, I'm still me. We still have desires, hopes, dreams, aspirations, and all we can really do is continue to pursue those in whatever state we currently find ourselves in that moment. So yes, self-awareness is paradoxical. We should do it so we can better understand ourselves. Socrates said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." But we should be careful while doing so because, as American author Robert Fulghum said, "The examined life is no picnic." There needs to be the right balance between self-awareness and just letting things be as they are. And for that, I recommend two simple things. First and foremost, set limits to introspection. A common practice in the self-improvement and self-awareness communities is to journal, right? You examine your own life through journaling. I do this myself, but I used to do it on a daily basis and I've cut back a little. One thing I found is that when I was writing on a daily basis and I was dealing with things that were a little more than just simple struggles, right? I was writing about them consistently because they were still top of mind. I was still working through these issues, so that's what I was thinking about and that's what I was writing about. And while I'm a big believer that oftentimes writing things down helps you separate yourself from the situation, when I was doing it so consistently, it's almost like I was just refreshing my own memory on the things that I was struggling with, and that was leading to overthinking, which is kind of a waste of time. So since then I've cut back, I journal every few days so that I can allow myself to think through things, and then I come back and write about new topics that I can then think through again. Okay, and the second thing, which, big shocker, embrace changes. You'll never have a complete, unchanging picture of who you are. And that's okay. Uncertainty is a universal part of the human experience, and if we never changed or grew or learned anything different, then What's the point of all this? The only certainty in life is change. That saying is a paradox in and of itself, but it holds true. Everything in your life, everything in my life, can change at a moment's notice. So clinging onto an idea of who you are or what you have or your position in life only creates a risk for being devastated when any of those things change or go away. There is no complete or perfect version of everything, so everything will always be changing, growing, and evolving, including yourself. Winston Churchill, the greatest orator of all time, said, "To improve is to change. To be perfect is to change often." So try not to worry too much about who you are today or who you'll be 10 years from now, because the simple truth is that you'll still be you, an ever-changing you, but you nonetheless. And you know what? That's enough. But with that, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.